So this is my informative speech on why torture should never be used within military interrogation. So let me go in depth of torture. In the article of Just Torture by Shunzo Mahima, he describes torture as an act by which severe pain or suffering, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted on a person for such purposes as to obtain from him or a third party information or confession. Many interrogations begin with the least coercive technique possible and then escalates if necessary. And I personally believe that we need to be educated in warfare instead of assuming that the aggressive way is the best way. According to American Journal of Public Health, tactics they use in Guantanamo Bay and Nuremberg included methods such as waterboarding, throwing people against walls, suspending people from chains, force feeding, and extreme sleep deprivation. So let me explain a little bit what waterboarding is. Waterboarding is a process of putting a cloth over a victim's face and then pouring water into their face, all while they are locked up. This blocks up breathing passages and gives a sensation of drowning, which can also induce convulsions and vomiting. Not to mention that it is very easy to kill someone like this. If you go on YouTube and search waterboarding, there are videos that show someone who voluntarily participates in it under medical supervision. The participant ends up lasting about 10 seconds before he feels he can't take anymore. So extreme deprivation, sleep deprivation, involves keeping the detainees awake for about 180 hours straight. That in a stressful position, like having your hands above your head throughout the entire time, which can result in disturbing hallucinations. So that's a week straight. I can barely function throughout the day with 8 hours of sleep and a cup of coffee. Can you imagine going a week straight without sleep? I can't. So according to Amos Guerra, he discusses the difference between interrogation and intelligence, which can be related to torture. Intelligence information is information gathered from the suspect, while interrogation is when the suspect is questioned about their involvement in a crime. And the illegal use of the two methods that cause pain and suffering to an alleged individual may be classified as torture. According to Jan Willem, author of Torture, Dignity, and Humiliation, he explains that torture is true that most utilizations of torture humiliate. It is shown that this is dependent on both the context of the torture and the specific means of torture applied. It is demonstrated that in certain circumstances, torture is feasible without inflicting the humiliation. Contemporary accounts of torture. So let me explain what militarism is. Militarism, by definition, is a belief or desire that a country should maintain a strong military capability and be prepared to use it aggressively to defend or promote national interests. And I believe in a strong military because without it, America would not be the greatest country in the world. But I do believe that this belief can create some false assumptions, such as perceiving torture to be beneficial. And why is it normal for us to believe in it? Well, according to Jim Orford, who wrote Turning Psychology into Militarism, he explains how militarism is deeply rooted into our society and influences the perception of our people. That soldiers aren't necessarily born, but learn as children to value armed conflict. War movies, war medals, and video games all play their part in this assimilation. And in my previous speech, as noted, how I was all for torture because the media instilled into me that mindset. On the other hand, maybe we need to be more educated in warfare instead of assuming that the aggressive way is the best way.